welcome to A Course in Miracles in Practice. We're so pleased you're here to delve into the practical application of the Course.
Think of this as a guided journey, a step-by-step exploration of one of the most powerful spiritual texts out there. Today we're doing a deep dive into a really significant idea from the Course.
That's right. We're focusing on our immutable identity in God.
And specifically, we'll be looking closely at Workbook Lesson 110.
And this isn't just a one-off idea. It's so foundational. The main thought actually shows up again in lessons 93 and 162 as well.
Really underscores its importance, doesn't it?
It does.
And the core statement, the heart of Lesson 110, is pretty profound. It basically says that just accepting our true self as God created us, unchanging. Well, that's enough.
Enough to save the world. It's a huge claim.
It really is.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to unpack today. What does this actually mean for us, for our experience?
So to start, let's just immerse ourselves in the lesson itself. We're going to read lesson 110.
Okay. Here is lesson 110. I am as God created me. 1. Today we will again affirm the truth about ourselves. We will rejoice that there is no change in God's Son and that what He created is eternal. We are as God created us. This is the truth, and nothing can prevail against it. Many foolish things we have believed about ourselves, and we've let many foolish judgments hurt our peace. We've conceived of ourselves as weak, as sinful, ugly, and afraid. We have seen ourselves attacked, and have attacked in return. All this is folly, for we are as God created us. 2. The voice of God assures us of this again and again, and the voice of God speaks the truth. If we listen, we will know that we are as He created us. We will know that our self, which is one with Him, is changeless. We will understand that we have always been as we are now and will always be the same. The illusions we have held about ourselves have no power to change our reality. What is created by God is forever beyond all change. 3. To believe that we are sinful is to believe that God's creation is faulty. To think of ourselves as ugly is to deny God's perfect artistry. To see ourselves as weak and helpless is to disclaim the power of God as ours. Can God beget the unlike to Himself? Can the perfect Father bring forth imperfection? Such insane beliefs arise only from the mad desire to be different from God and separate from Him. And it is these insane beliefs that have made the world we see. 4. Today we let all these foolish thoughts go by. We will replace them with the truth. We are as God created us. His Son can suffer nothing, and we are His Son. We would accept the truth about ourselves today. We are in heaven, where God willed that we should be. We know no suffering, we feel no pain, and fear is meaningless to us. God's love surrounds us, and we are one with Him. 5. We take a moment now to let this truth sink in. We are as God created us. The stillness of heaven is within us. The joy of God belongs to us. We are His Holy Son forever and forever. Let us turn our minds to Him in silent gratitude and in the quiet certainty of our eternal sinlessness. 6. In our practice period today, we will affirm our true identity and rejoice in the self that God created as us. We will listen to His voice, which speaks of this identity and tells us the illusions we have cherished are not real. We are as God created us, His beloved Son in whom He is well pleased. 7. Close your eyes and think of this in perfect stillness for a minute or two. Then open them and look about you. See the world through eyes that now behold a self that is like God and therefore part of you. 8. Repeat this thought throughout the day. I am as God created me. Let this become your constant thought, returning to it whenever you are tempted to believe that you are anything else. It has the power to save you from all pain, where it implies that pain is meaningless. It has the power to give you joy instead, for it reminds you of the truth of what you are. 9. We are as God created us, the Holy Son of a Holy Father, whose holiness remains our own.
Okay, so that's the lesson.
Straight away, that opening line, I am as God created me.
Yeah.
It just sets the stage, doesn't it? This unchanging, inherent nature.
And what's really interesting is how it immediately links accepting this one truth, just this one idea about ourselves, to saving the world. The Course suggests our personal acceptance, our individual recognition of this immutable identity. It somehow ripples out.
Like a domino effect, maybe?
Sort of. Like recognizing your own light helps, illuminate the path for everyone else. It contributes to the collective awakening, the redemption.
And then the lesson draws this stark contrast, right? Between this true self and all those, well, it calls them foolish ideas we have.
Feeling weak, guilty, ugly, afraid, attacked.
Yeah. All that stuff it labels as folly, basically saying none of that is real.
And if you think about it in terms of the Course's overall metaphysics, these negative ideas all stem from that core belief in separation, right? That we somehow broke away from God.
So lesson 110 is hitting that head on, reminding us, no, your origin is divine, your nature is as God created you.
Think about how we usually identify ourselves, our jobs, our family roles, maybe our successes or failures.
Things that change.
Yeah.
Things in the world.
Right. And this lesson says they're like costumes. They're temporary. They don't touch the actual actor underneath the essential self.
Which brings us to that idea of returning to our source identity. The lesson pushes us to remember where we actually come from. How does remembering that change things, like right now?
Well, it raises a good question for daily life, doesn't it? If you really believe deep down that you are an extension of God, perfect, loving, completely safe, how would you react to traffic or, criticism?
Right. Things might not seem so personally offensive or threatening.
Exactly. The lesson implies that a lot of our upset comes from identifying with the costume, with the temporary role, instead of the eternal self. When we get hooked by drama, feeling slighted or inadequate.
It's a sign we forgot who we are.
Yeah. Like getting totally lost in a movie and forgetting you're sitting safely in the theater.
Okay, so then it talks about healing and correction. That accepting this immutable identity is the correction for these wrong ideas we have. Can you say more on that?
Well, the key there is that our suffering isn't caused by events themselves, but by our interpretation of them, our perception.
Through the ego's filter of fear and separation.
Precisely. So accepting I am as God created me is like cleaning the lens. Suddenly, the distortions start to clear up. You see things differently.
And that line from the other text we looked at, appearances cannot replace the truth. That fits right in here.
It does. No matter how solid or upsetting our problems seem, from this perspective, they're part of the illusion. They dissolve when we shift our identification back to our unchanging reality.
Like waking up from a bad dream and realizing, oh, it wasn't real.
That's a good analogy for it.
The lesson also touches on escaping time. It's mentioned that this one idea is enough to let time be the means for all the world to learn escape from time. That sounds significant.
It's a big concept. If we see time as this linear progression, birth, life, death, constant change.
Which is how we usually experience it.
Right. But our immutable identity, the self God created, exists outside of that. It's timeless, eternal, constant.
So recognizing that self means what? We're not bound by time in the same way.
It offers a kind of liberation from it. The anxieties about the past, the fears of the future, they lose their grip when you identify with something timeless. The present moment becomes the focus, not as a point between past and future, but as an experience of eternity.
Okay, so it's not that the clock stops, but our relationship to time changes.
Yeah, it's like realizing the clock hands ticking away don't actually control your inner peace or your true nature.
And this acceptance leads to perfect vision, which is said to heal all the mind's mistakes and free us from past and future. How does that work?
When you know yourself as this eternal and vulnerable, guiltless self, the ego's fearful stories just don't have the same power. You start to see yourself and others through a lens of compassion and shared identity rather than judgment. That's what heals the errors, the misperceptions.
Like changing the filter from criticism to love, maybe.
Or at least to acceptance and clarity. It quiets that harsh inner critic.
Okay. And then there's redemption. The idea that this understanding brings redemption to come to light the world and free it from the past. How does focusing on the eternal achieve that?
Well, in the Course, the past often represents the whole history of the belief in separation and all the guilt and fear tied up with that.
The collective dream of separation.
Right. So by shifting our focus, our identity, to our eternal, sinless reality now, we withdraw our belief from that past. We stop giving it power over our present. Redemption, then, is this awakening to our true nature. That act of awakening frees us, and by extension helps free the world from the chains of that illusory past.
Like realizing you've been carrying this heavy backpack of guilt for no reason, and you can just put it down.
It's a great way to put it. You just let it go because you realize it wasn't actually yours to carry.
And this all leads back to that initial huge claim. Accepting this single thought, I am as God created me, is actually enough to save the world.
It really emphasizes the sheer potential packed into that one shift in identification.
It's not about complex rituals or achieving some lofty spiritual status.
No, it's about a fundamental change in self-concept. If everyone, or even just enough of us, genuinely accepted our divine, unchanging nature, think about it. The very basis for fear, attack, conflict, lack, it just dissolves.
Boiling it all down, the core message of Lesson 110 is just this bedrock truth. Who you really are, your essential self, is exactly as God created you. Eternal, Unchanging.
Untouched by anything that happens in the world of appearances.
And really taking that in, embracing that unchanging identity.
Yeah.
That's the way.
It's presented as the path to healing the mind, finding freedom from time's limitations, and ultimately recognizing the salvation that's already inherent within us.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening to consider, just reflect on this. How might your actual moment-to-moment experience of the world, your feelings, your reactions, your understanding, your peace, how might that genuinely shift if you consistently remembered and truly lived from this unchanging identity in God?
Yeah, that's something to sit with.
If any of our listeners have thoughts or questions that came up during this deep dive, we'd genuinely love to hear from you. Please feel free to email us.
The address is acim@theworldharmonyproject.org.
That's ACIM@theworldharmonyproject.org. We look forward to hearing your perspective.